Before you die, you have to watch Ringu, the 1998 supernatural thriller. This review will contain some spoilers. You've been warned. This is the Japanese movie that inspired an American remake of itself to come out around 4 years later. The plot. So there's this tape, and, if you watch it, you'll die in 7 days after receiving a harrowing phone call that just simply says, 7 days. But now the person behind it all has picked the wrong person to do it to, because she's going to investigate the heck out of it, or just spend time with her father and his son. But meanwhile, the person who watched the tape most recently shows it to her husband, who is also a psychic. It helps. It really does, especially in trying to solve the case. But now he too is marked, and the Ringu curse begins again. This is basically just like an urban legend, except for it's one that we haven't heard before until this movie came out. Director Hideo Nakata created something on a rather low-ish budget that has become way more infamous as time goes on. For a roughly $1,200,000 budgeted film, it's made $9,500,000 in yen to US currency. This made it the most profitable Japanese film of all time at that time. For such a highbrow movie, the film thrives in the low-budget department. If it were made in Japan for a high budget, it would be more flashy, probably, as well as effect-heavy. However, the subtle nature of the film would have suffered greatly. Everything from the characters, to the story, to the atmosphere and settings just work. Rikio Asakawa, who is played by Nanako Matsushima, plays the husband, college professor, who has ESP. It is convenient for the plot, but it doesn't take this movie into the realm of fantasy, which I greatly appreciate. It still feels really grounded, even with a character that has that kind of power. Mai Takano, played by Miki Nakatani, plays Riko's ex-wife, as well as the reporter who digs up some of the information about the cursed tape. However, it is Rikio who does the most investigating and uncovering. Mai spends more time sending her son off to be with his grandfather than she does investigating in the second act. Speaking of the grandfather, I want to get into quite a big spoiler here, but I think it's an interesting topic to bring up. Near the end of the movie, Mai discovers that since she showed Rikio the tape after she had already seen it, that it would make him next in line to be killed by Sadako because she made a copy. So she calls the grandfather and asks if he could do her a favor. It is somewhat hinted at that they don't get along 100%, because when she calls for her son on the phone, he asks if she would like to speak with him. She hurriedly hangs up the phone after saying no thank you. Also, he would probably be the easiest one to show the tape to because of the relationship. And she probably figures that since he's old, what's he got to lose? I don't know, that's messed up. I could see her asking him directly to watch it as if he owed her something. Maybe I'm just digging too deep into it. I just think there was some incentive to be found there. End spoilers. The rest of the characters are just there to be on the sidelines. They do help and are somewhat important to the story. However, it is Rikio and Mai that are the real main characters. Sadako and her mother, Shizuko, are feared by many, but for unfairly unjustified reasons. They see her as either a freak or a fraud, and people have chastised them for their abilities. It's also sad to note that in 1886, a similar case occurred when Shizuko Mifune was declared to be a charlatan, which means someone who is falsely claimed to have a special skill or expertise. Because she is rumored to have the gift of foresight, and a year later she committed suicide by ingesting poison. A man by the name of Dr. Tomokachi Fukurai experimented with this woman using ESP cards. The same technique was shown in Ringu, as well as the backlash. It is a very interesting story that I couldn't find too much about on the internet, but suffice to say, it is historically haunting. Back to Ringu, though. Sadako isn't shown a whole lot in this movie, nor do we see how her victims end up dying. That is until near the end of the movie, for the most infamous shot of the film is one you're not expecting if you've never seen a Ringu movie. You know the one I'm talking about. Ringu is an unsettling watch. It makes you feel rather uncomfortable with its settings and especially the music. There are not many grand or spectacular shots in the film. It is all very grounded and realistic, which makes it all the more terrifying. The gore, the effects, there's not much in terms of graphic imagery. We get some broken fingernails, a grotesque corpse, and little else. This isn't an effect-heavy film either. Like I said, Sadako doesn't really appear in full view until near the end. When that happens, an easy-to-achieve effect was used to have her transition from the tape world to the real world. It is still rather effective, even though it was cheaply done. The motion picture soundtrack, the use of violins are truly effective, as well as a chilling keyboard-like sound that occurs whenever something seems out of the ordinary. The piano segments are rather touching and sad. They occur when the characters have time to breathe and discuss their feelings over the happenings. Kenji Kawai composed some simplistic yet effective music for this movie. The pop sonnet at the end does not fit whatsoever, however. This is a brilliant little movie that made it big. It got so big, in fact, that Arrow Video released this box set of Ringu movies. I did a unboxing video as well as a Blu-ray review for this movie, Ringu. You can check that out on my channel. Probably leave a link to it up there or something. I love the vibe this film gives off. The characters, while not all useful, are portrayed with the confidence and determination that we really need in this kind of genre. It's a creepy flick that definitely deserves to be seen. Hopefully you can start with this and not have watched the American remake prior. It's a good way to get into the mind of Sadako and Ringu. Overall, I give Ringu a 4 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the horror show host. Make sure to like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Even $1 a month will go a long way, as well as like, comment, and share this video, as well as hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe.